Those of you who may not know, Dwight had given President Trump his Purple Heart.
That's right. That's right.
I couldn't think anybody more deserving of a Purple Heart.
Thank you very much.
You really couldn't think of anybody else? I mean, thank you for your service, sir, but you couldn't think of anybody else other than Donald Trump? All right, Donald Trump held a rally in Greensboro, North Carolina tonight, and it went off the rails quickly. He referred to AOC as a young girl. He kept repeating Barack Hussein Obama, and then he glitched on stage as everybody sat there quietly. Now, a few weeks back, Donald Trump also had an absurd interaction with a Trump supporter in North Carolina during a town hall, and the Trump supporter describes how he gave Trump his Purple Heart. There is no one more deserving, and then he says he just wants to kick all the immigrants out. It is a wild interaction, and then Trump rambles on for multiple minutes, and with 14 days to go, we have no time to waste. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and throughout this video, I'm going to be comparing videos of Donald Trump in North Carolina to videos of VP Harris talking about similar topics like the hurricane, like reproductive freedoms, or women around America. So let's jump right in with this first clip of Donald Trump talking about AOC. He refers to AOC as a, quote, young girl and calls global warming nonsense. Saying young girl about a grown woman is inherently misogynistic.
You know, the Green New scam is terrible. You know whose idea that was, right? AOC, young girl, very nice person. She never even studied the environment in college, average student.
What? This dude hasn't studied anything. He hasn't studied the basic human language.
At best. She was an average student. She walked in one day, she said, we're going to all be dead in 12 years because the oceans are rising. Well, it's been more than 12 years. What's going on? No, we have a much bigger threat. We have a threat called nuclear weapons and having stupid people running our country. And if you talk about global warming, that's the real global warming, not this nonsense of the ocean's going to rise over the next 400 years by 1/8 of an inch and we're going to be wiped out. No, we have a threat right now and we better get smart.
So Donald Trump did something during this clip called the straw man. He misrepresents the argument of liberals so much that he's able to tear them down easily and make them sound dumb. AOC has never said we're all going to be dead in 12 years. She's also never said we all need to freak out because the ocean's going to raise 1/4 of an inch over 400 years. Neither of those things are true. AOC never said either of those things, but what is true is that humans have caused a rapid acceleration in carbon emissions into the earth, and due to that, the greenhouse effect is trapping these emissions in, slowly making the earth more hot. And glaciers are melting. Sea levels are rising, and yes, it could take 50 to 60 years to happen, but that's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. If you think about the billions and billions of years that the universe has been here for. Do I even need to mention the hurricane? The 2 hurricanes that just swept Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, and other states due to climate change, due to these raising temperatures? I mean, Donald Trump's yapping is offensive at this point. Here's Donald Trump saying that VP Harris is a low IQ individual, and then saying that President Xi Jinping of China is a brilliant man that the press hates. Lord have mercy. This is coming out the same day that we learned Donald Trump said he wishes his military was more like Hitler's. He wishes his generals were more supportive like they were to Hitler. He's also said he wishes that his military stood up like Kim Jong-un's military, even though Kim Jong-un's military is threatened by violence. Just listen to this.
We're going to have it back there very soon. With 4 more years of Kamala Harris, North Carolina will be an economic wasteland. That's what's going to happen. The rest of your companies are going to move out. Everybody knows that. The smart people know. She's the only one that doesn't know it. Low IQ. She's a low IQ individual. And we've had that for 4 years. We don't need another 4. No country could take that. Can you imagine what President Xi, you know, I got to know him very well. He's a fierce individual. The press, the fake news hates when I say that he's a brilliant man. He runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. If I say he's a brilliant man, they say, he called him a okay, he's not a smart man at all.
Many of you guys likely saw my video earlier today where I break down that Atlantic article about Donald Trump saying he wishes his generals were more like Hitler. Let me know in the comments if you saw that video of mine. If not, go watch it. But many people were saying in my comments, I was reading them as I always do, Adam, I don't believe this. This is a stretch. This is way too far. Trump wouldn't say this. If you still think this is a stretch after Donald Trump said this out in the open, then, imagine what he'll say in private. He just said that VP Harris is a low IQ individual, and then the next press said that President Xi is a brilliant man. I mean, this man loves to praise dictators. He also says in this clip that everybody knows VP Harris is a low IQ individual. Take a listen.
Everybody knows that. The smart people know. She's the only one that doesn't know it. Low IQ. She's a low IQ individual.
He says that everybody knows it. Everybody is saying it. And we actually coined a term for this technique that Donald Trump often uses earlier today. We called it the Trump feedback loop. And listen to this definition. It is a self-perpetuating communication pattern in which Donald Trump generates a rumor or false claim, in this case, that VP Harris is a low IQ individual. She's not smart. Then he amplifies it through repeated mentions. He says this every single rally, every day. And then subsequently asserts that, quote, many people are saying it, creating the illusion of widespread belief in the idea even when no external validation exists. Donald Trump does this time and time again, and let's see if he uses it during this clip right here where he's talking to this man that gave him the Purple Heart. Now, this guy asks a question about veterans, and at first, it's a really valid question that I think is okay to ask, but then he starts to talk about kicking all illegal immigrants out.
Really nice. Thank you.
I served as a Marine in Vietnam, proudly served as a Marine in Vietnam. And thank you very much. There were quite a few that did. And when I came back from the service and stuff like that, we didn't get quite the greatest greeting, but
No, you didn't.
a lot of the veterans nowadays are homeless. There's 7% were homeless before Biden and Harris took over. Now there's 14%. I would like to know what you're going to do to prevent this from getting any larger, and also kicking these illegal aliens out of the freaking hotels and providing them with money before we do it to our homeless vets.
So interesting. So one of the things that most angers me about this is the 21 million people plus. You know, they say it's 10, it's 12, whether it is or not, it's much more than that. It's 21 million, and it's probably with the gotaways and everything a lot more than that.
It's not 21 million.
But one of the things that most angers me is that you have veterans on the streets in front of a hotel, and you have illegal immigrants. Some of them are serious killers and drug dealers and all the people that we talked about before, and terrorists. And those people being walked into a hotel, and they're staying in a hotel, and they walk by veterans who are sleeping on the street. And it could be cold, it could be hot, and it bothers me. If we stop, if we close our walls, we're going to be able to handle it. They are spending so much money on taking care of the illegal migrants now.
This isn't true. These issues are completely separate. What's going on at the border, Donald Trump tries to connect to every single issue. There's even the talking point, why are we sending equipment over to Ukraine when we could be sending it to the border? Why would we send military equipment to the border? It makes no sense. Donald Trump tries to connect every issue to immigration, and no, the government isn't providing immigrants better service than veterans, and at the same time, Republicans have blocked so many VA care bills time and time again. Republicans shoot it down, and it's insane to me. I always ask Republicans or Trump supporters at rallies, so you don't want to send cash to Ukraine. Would you be okay with reinvesting that cash into social programs within the United States? And if so, which social program would you want to reinvest it in? Most of the time, they don't have any ideas because they just don't want to spend any money whatsoever. Donald Trump would not expand any sort of veterans health care, and I can guarantee that.
We used to call them illegal aliens. I call them whatever the hell I want to call them. So do you. But they're not supposed to be here. And we're going to close the wall. First day, we're going to do a couple of things. First day, we're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to close the wall. We're going to close it up. And we're going to have to take people out. We cannot have killers. Do we agree? Does anybody want to leave the murderers, the drug dealers in our country?
Did you say we're going to have to take people out? I feel like that could have a few meanings.
You know, one of the little facts that's very sad, but makes sense, that all these things I predicted 3-4 years ago, I was saying this is going to happen. Now it's happening. The migrant crime, it's a massive crime. But all of this that's happened, everybody, it's common sense that it was going to happen. and we're going to have to get them out because we have no choice. It's not sustainable by any country. We have done things.
This dude is not sustainable by any country. This dude just had a yap session. He had a word salad. He said at the beginning, we have to take him out, and then he talked for a minute and looped back around to we have to get them out. This dude on the right looks like he's more confused than he was entering.
Stupid. Like, as an example, I consider it to be less important, but it's very important still because it's a way of life.
Joe Biden moment right there. Or more like Donald Trump moment at this point, my bad.
Consider it to be less important, but it's very important still because it's a way of life. Men playing in women's sports, okay?
How do we get here?
Who wants that? And who wants open borders? Because open borders are so, you say, how does a thing like that happen? All of these policies we're going to be changing, and we have now somebody running as a radical left person.
How did he randomly just throw men's playing and women's sports in there? How did that randomly get weaved in there?
You know, more
and just look at this guy's face.
Left by far than Pocahontas. More, you know who that is? More left by far than crazy Bernie Sanders. She's more left, and we can't have it. So we're going to take care of your people and your friends. You got a lot of friends out there that don't have a place.
He looks like he's smelling the stench of Donald Trump, and he's just trying not to make a bad face. Look at it.
And we're going to do it, and we're going to do it faster. We're going to put money to it. First of all, we're standing on the greatest power. It's called liquid gold. We have
okay, how is Donald Trump to liquid gold at this point? I mean, part of being a politician is being concise, being quick with your answers, and Donald Trump is anything but. Here is him talking about Barack Hussein Obama, saying that Obama looks exhausted. Oh, my Lord.
They're bringing out Obama. I say, oh, they did that with Hillary Clinton. Good, I'm glad they're bringing him out. The reason they're bringing him out, because he doesn't even want to do it. I think he's exhausted. I watched him talking. I think the guy's exhausted. And I never say a guy's looking old, but he's looking a little bit older, isn't he? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
Obama looks old. Trump is a rambling mess who eats so much McDonald's that it sweats out of his pores and then causes his makeup to melt off. I mean,
but he's exhausted.
Obama's exhausted, I'm sure. Here's a clip of Trump talking more about President Xi.
Can you imagine what President Xi, you know, I got to know him very well. He's a fierce individual. The press, the fake news hates when I say that he's a brilliant man. He runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist.
Here's the thing that I've said before. There's a difference between Obama saying something like, you have to be careful about Putin and Xi Jinping. They are clever with the way they use disinformation. Yes, we can acknowledge that their strategies are sometimes clever, but repeatedly calling them brilliant men who are just misunderstood, who are actually good men who you write love letters with, and then also saying in the next breath, Justin Trudeau and Angela Merkel are enemies, and that Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi are enemies from within. But Vladimir Putin is our so-called enemy. That is the problem, and that's why the media critiques you.
They say he's a brilliant man. They say he called him a okay, he's not a smart man at all. These people are crazy back there, I'm telling you. Am I allowed to say he's smart? Is he smart? He's a smart man.
Call his strategies smart but nefarious. Say something bad too. They're nefarious but clever strategies because they obviously worked on you. You've fallen for Vladimir Putin's strategies. He has you wrapped around his finger. Here's Trump slurring heavily while saying that Tim Walz is the stupidest man to ever run.
The stupidest man I've ever seen run for office. Is there something wrong with that guy? He's always bouncing. He's going with his heart.
I can barely even understand Trump. He's like, stupidest.
The stupidest man I've ever seen run for office.
This dude wanted to nuke a hurricane, thinks F-35 fighter jets are actually invisible, and then also tried to draw a Sharpie on a hurricane map. But you guys know all this. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.